Hey guys, this is Pete. This is a video covering your questions for um, the last two chapters in the text, chapters 7 and 8. Um, and you have a test coming up on chapters 5 through 8, so hopefully we can add a little depth here to the discussion, and some of the stuff may be asked on the test. Michael starts with a question about people taking legal action and talking about people not reading the policy. All I can really add here is that overwhelmingly people don't read policy and sign their names off to whatever the terms and conditions are for sites. And it's not even limited to terms and conditions. I read an article recently that talked about how, here I'll type it in so we can remember it better. The majority of people who share articles on Facebook, so like news articles, have not read the article they are sharing. And it talks about how we're such like a headline-driven culture, where people in journalism need to write headlines that really capture attention, and get the point across. But for many, they want the headline to get you to click to find out more, not to have it all revealed within the headline, because a lot of people just will forward the headline, and the newspaper's not even getting any clicks on their site because the people aren't even reading the article they're sharing. So yeah, terms and conditions, anything boring, people consistently will just skip it because they don't see a benefit. They don't see their rewards outweighing their cost. It's a cost-benefit analysis thing. If they get burned by it one time, then they probably will, but most people don't realize, what they're agreeing to a lot of times. And this absolutely goes for like privacy policies on social media. Jacob asks, how can these social media platforms balance privacy settings while at the same time connecting people across the world, which is a good question. I think you're seeing from the successful social media organizations that one of the most important concepts would be choice, like giving people options to tighten up security, those who care about it, and those who don't, it doesn't matter because they don't care about it, right? So if you give people options to make their profile as secure as possible, then those who care about that can do so. And you're still connecting people because those people are still connecting with who they want to connect to. You're not like preventing your site from functioning as efficiently as it could, because those people aren't, if anything, they are going to use your site more if they believe it's safe and secure. So yeah, people can still be connected by just giving people options in terms of security and choice in the matter. A lot of less reputable sites will, they don't care about that. They just want to get you to agree to something so that they can take your data and sell it or do whatever with it. But the truly mainstream reputable ones, I would hope, give you a lot of options. And I know Facebook's done a lot of work in that sense. Twitter's done work in that sense as well. Brianna has this question about Instagram. What exactly? So in the agreement, it says they can share user content and your information, such as cookies, log files, device identifiers, location data, usage data, with businesses. So is Instagram really saying that they're able to file through your posts in practically the entirety of someone's phone? But sharing information with cookies and log files is something completely irrelevant to Instagram and deals more with Safari, Google Chrome. I would argue that they definitely don't view that as irrelevant. They want to capture as much data as they can, because the more data they have, the more they can do with it. There are massive opportunities to sell data mined information to various marketing agencies and companies that have a desire to obtain that data. And it's not, for the most part, it's not like Instagram is going to go through your phone to see what you texted somebody on Friday night. They don't care about individual things. They care about overall patterns of consumers. because that's information that's valuable and can be sold. So I get what you're saying, where it seems more like an internet browser thing to see what sites you're going to and what your history is, and so on and so forth. But if Instagram can get access to that as well, they will. And yeah, you're probably right, that's irrelevant to the point that Instagram doesn't need that data to operate effectively or efficiently, but they're going to take it if you are going to agree to it, because it can make them a boatload of cash. I agree with you, Tegan. I really like this quote from Crowley. Creativity is people trying interesting things without the fear of failure or ridicule. I'm teaching a group communication class this semester, and we've been talking recently about creativity in a group setting and how so often groups come up with, actually, you would think, more brains, more opportunity for creativity, and oftentimes groups come up with less creative solutions than individuals. And part of that is, the anxiety or uncomfortability working in a group setting. And they suggest that, when you're ever brainstorming ideas, throw out everything you can think of. Terrible at typing, even if it's ridiculous, and wait to evaluate it later until you've fully brainstormed out all sorts of ideas, because creativity comes from the ability to speak an idea and not have it laughed at, to really let your creative idea take place and really run with it. It can't be immediately rejected by a culture that isn't conducive to creativity. And a lot of times, when we work in groups, we're worried about how people would react to a more out there idea. So we stick to traditional, basic concepts and ideas. So if you want to be creative, remember this quote and go for it. And whatever your idea has, go for it and think it through. Seth's asking about privacy. Elena asked something very similar about social media and having your data. If you delete all your social media, they're still going to have everything that they already gathered from you. They would no longer be able to continue gathering data from you, but they would still have everything that they gathered from you before. Does Twitter have the right to keep my history with them? If you delete your account, the account's gone. They're not going to be obtaining any future data from you, but they still have everything that they gathered before that. Logan, I like this post about the Oreos tweet in the 2013 Super Bowl. And there's a really interesting dynamic here where, I feel like sometimes on social media, on Twitter, during a live event, everyone's trying to be the smartest person in the room, and everyone's trying to be the funniest person in the room. And if you remember the 2013 Super Bowl in New Orleans, when the lights went out, for like an hour during the game, Oreos, which has nothing to do with anything, seized an opportunity and posted something that got retweeted quite a bit, and people laughed at it and thought it was funny or whatever it might be. But then it gets done so much that, the same joke gets done to overkill. So if, I don't remember what you remember about the Super Bowl 2 years ago, but it didn't take long until power being out jokes, like jokes related to power failure and all that, became very old, and became cliche. So you have a very small window of opportunity to make an impression in these situations, is what I've come to realize from it. And that Oreos did, to some extent. 16,000 retweets is strong. It's not, amazing for a company that's probably purchased by millions of people. But, you also have to know when it's becoming overdone and cliche, and not to pursue that path. Crowdfunding, I guess I'm not sure exactly how this, what this question means, but if you look at something like Kickstarter, there are measures put in place to make sure that what people submit money for actually happens. There's been lawsuits towards people where they promised a service, people paid for it, and it wasn't delivered, and they've had to pay, lots and lots of money because of that. Crowdfunding works because people believe in the process and believe that they're not throwing their money away. So clearly, crowdfunding sites, want to make sure it's a secure environment. In terms of like intellectual property rights and all that, it gets a little bit trickier if that's what your question's talking about. Cyberbullying accusations, I mean, they're going to look into cyberbullying if it's something that is going to prevent their company from succeeding, or is going to cause conflict, or is going to cause backlash or uproar where it's going to look negatively upon their company. They want people using the site to, I think, overall enjoy their experience, so there's a little bit of reason to do so. But at the same time, I don't think they're going to go out of their way. And there's certain, different social media is going to look at it in different ways. Facebook may investigate people claiming their account was hacked seriously because they realize that to the customer, security is, of utmost importance, and therefore they're going to need to do that if they believe it's going to lead to people continuing to use or stop using their site. It's a bad example, but that's the example. If they don't believe it has any real impact on people using their site or not, they're probably not going to. I agree, Colin, about being genuine and the stuff about viewpoints and the creation of this kind of like honest customer review is interesting. How does the site's privacy policy play into their success? I would say overall very little. As we talked about earlier, people don't read them. Now, there are worries and concerns, and I think the company has to effectively address those concerns. But generally, they only need to address those concerns on a very basic level, because people don't do a whole lot of more in-depth digging. And again, it's this creation of options, giving people the option to tighten up their security, because many people don't care anyways. So yeah, I would say that it has little effect, but they do need to make sure that they at least seem open and upfront and caring about security and privacy, and that they'll give people options in order to really optimize their effectiveness in the social media world. So that's all I got for this week. Quick video. Hope you got something out of it. Good luck on the quiz that's coming up on chapters 5 through 8, and I'll talk to you guys later.